Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we check out the latest from Korneff Audio, the Micro Digital Reverberator. I always get the pleasure of working with the guys at Korneff Audio to check out their latest and greatest plugins. We've done the Pawn Shop Comp, we've done the Talkback Limiter, and we've also done the AIP, the Amplified Instrument Processor. Now we're checking out their latest plugin, which is coming out today, September 6th. So if you like what we go through today, you can pick up your copy right now. But let's go into the DAW and take a look at the controls and some of the sounds of the Micro Digital Reverberator. So here we go. This is the Korneff Audio MDR, we'll call it for short. This unit is exactly what you think. It's a reverb unit, and it's based off of a hardware unit that was made very popular in the 80s and 90s. And you'll see from just looking at it, there's not a lot of controls, but the controls that you have and the programs for the reverb that you have do give you some really good sounds, and you don't have to do a lot of tweaking to get it to sit inside your mix. That's what makes this plugin actually really good. You can dial something in very quickly. Let's take a look at the front panel controls. Obviously you have your dry level here, which by default starts all the way down and nullified, almost as if you're putting this reverb on a send. But if you put it on your track itself, this is how you bring up your direct signal, is you just bring the dry up. It all the way up puts it to 0 dB, so no attenuation. Then you have your wet control, which by default starts all the way wet. And you can bring this back if you're doing this on your track itself and you don't have it on a send. You can just kind of dial in the amount of wet signal to your dry signal by messing with these controls. Then third, you have your pre-delay, and it goes all the way up to 150 milliseconds. So your pre-delay with just a simple control right on front. Then the large knob on bottom is your program select. 1 through 7 on the left-hand side are different large or longer reverb styles. Then on bottom, you have 1 through 6 for small or tighter reverb style. And then you have 3 different effect reverbs. You have your reverse, gated reverb 1, and gated reverb 2. That seems like it's really not a lot going on, but that's just the first engine of this plugin. You can change styles by coming to the top left and switching to engine 2. The entire user interface changes, and now you can get an entirely different set of sounds with the different banks in this reverb. For here, you'll see that the wet, dry, and pre-delay controls are all the same, but now you have more of an LCD interface on front and program buttons on bottom. Let's say you like program 24. Go in and punch in 24 and it recalls it for you. This reverb engine has up to 55 different reverbs built right in. So you can start all the way from number 1 and go up to 55. After this, it recycles through. If we tried to go up, we can't go up anymore, but we can start going down in the built-in programs. Without going through all of the different programs that are available in Engine 2, as we just start clicking through, you can see there's minor changes here and there. Through 1 through 3, it is still small bright, but the reverb time is increased. So from 0.1 seconds to 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds. Then we go to a new style and sounding reverb. This is medium warm with a reverb time of 1.1 seconds. Go up again, medium bright, 0.6 seconds. You can see how the display tells you what to listen for and tells you the kind of sounds you're going to hear. Then along bottom, you have just your standard Korneff Audio controls, your input meters and your input trim. The middle section we'll get to in a second, and then you have your output trim and your output meters. You also have your information button here. Along the bottom, the first button is your tool tips. You can turn this on to actually tell you more about the controls. So as you hover over, it's going to tell you dry level, wet level, pre-delay time. There's your bank selectors, and it shows you what you're hovering over and what you're looking at. The next button is the manual. So if you want to read the manual and find out some more about the programs that are in here, just click this and read through the manual. Then the middle section, you have the A and B comparison, where you can actually try different reverbs without opening new instances. And then you have your undo and redo buttons all the way on the right. But this wouldn't be a Korneff Audio plugin if you couldn't dive under the hood. Again, just like all of the other plugins, click on the Korneff label and you are now inside the unit. You have oversampling available to you, GPU acceleration, and GUI zoom, so you can actually see the plugin a little bit better. Clearly, I have it scaled up for this demonstration. Then the other controls you have in here is your dampening control up on the top right. And this is just to dial in just the dampening of the reverb. And as you hear stuff, and we'll get into this in a bit, you'll hear what this control does. You can also change the width, summing it down to mono, or actually spreading it further into the stereo field by pushing this up to 200%. And then the last control is your low pass filter. So you can actually tame some of the high end and maybe something's too shimmery. You can pull this control down and actually cut off some of the top end of your reverb. That's all the controls for the MDR. Now let's get into some of the sounds. I'm actually gonna switch over to my snare drum, and I'm going to throw this into solo, and I'm going to bypass the plugin right now. So this is just our snare drum that we're starting with. So that's just a few sounds when clicking through the parameters on Engine 1. Like I said, it's just the one control, and you just select through your different sounds of your reverbs. Maybe you want something large, you can dial in 7 different options, or something small with 6 different options. Now let's do it again with our snare drum, and we'll switch over to Engine 2. We're going to go into bypass so you can hear the regular snare again, and then we'll drop it in and just kind of cycle through some of the different selections we have. So you can see with a reverb, you don't need a lot of controls to dial in a good sound. But with Korneff Audio, you always get the chance to go under the hood and refine the sound to suit your needs. But just going through and messing with the wet, dry, and pre-delay and picking a reverb, you already get a really good sound, and it doesn't take a lot to dial that into your mix. Maybe you just need to balance your dry versus wet. Dial in some pre-delay. And now we're just working on our snare drum right now. Let's actually just switch this back to Engine 1, and we'll go to small, and I'll just kind of bring this down a little. But let's switch over to our lead vocals, where I also have this going on. And we'll go into the full mix now. So here we go. We're on our lead vocal bus, and we're in default, but we're on Engine 2. Let's take a listen to what we have, and we'll very quickly dial some stuff in.
Kick out the roots from the old ground. The deadbeat ideas don't mean nothing to me. Leave the one horse town. Saddle up, we're getting out.
you go. Very quickly, you can just cycle through, find a sound, blend it in, and I'm working on my lead vocal bus right now. So all of my lead vocals are going through this plugin. And very quickly, I dialed the pre-delay and the wet-dry balance. And then I even went under the hood and took off some of the top end. And I think this is sitting really nicely already. Just that's the great thing about this plugin. It's very limited controls, but you don't need a lot, because too many controls, you're going to be too busy hunting for the perfect sound. If you limit your controls, you have to commit to something and just dial it in fast and move on to the next thing. And that's important as mixers, because we don't want to just sit there finding the right reverb. You want to click something, change a couple parameters very quickly, and then move on to the next thing. This way you can be more efficient with your time and your artist's time. So there you go. This is the newest plugin from Korneff Audio. And as I said earlier in the video, this released today, September 6th. So use the link in the description to head over to Korneff Audio and pick up your copy of the Micro Digital Reverberator. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. For more, visit timflansbaum.com. Also, support our friends over at Korneff Audio. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.